Today's talk's about rediscovering our innocence, and this is coming from a process that I just took. Jane sent me an email and asked me to join this pilot program. And the pilot program was called We Space, Whole Body Mystical Meditation. And good would it be to be a wood elf if I wasn't practicing some kind of whole body mystical meditation? And even in my finding of unity, even since I was a little kid, I always knew there was more going on than what seemed apparent. And even in my introduction into the Bible and religion, the thing that I really loved about it was the idea of this concept of a loving creator and some sense of certainty, to have some sense of love and honor, integrity that wasn't for sale. We live in a world where profit rules. Forests are divided up into board feet of timber. Watersheds are considered profit. Fields, people, all for profit. And it never made sense to me. In fact, growing up and going to school, it was really hard for me to want to buy into this world we have because something always seemed wrong about it. And we're going to be talking about some structures and that gives us the ability to negotiate this life with a sense of integrity and purpose. And I want to read really quick. These are the 5 principles of unity, and I'm going to do a brief overview of these. And principle 1 is that God, and God's a loaded word. Sometimes I like to think of God as an infinitely reoccurring undulation of light, sound, frequency, vibration flowing through and around all things, encompassing the spaces in between. Sometimes I call it Chuck, sometimes Leonard, but the concept that everything that is comes from a source. And everything that is was something before. It's this unknowable, unnameable thing that we all exist in. And that it loves us inherently, and that it's inherently good. I think a great quote by Einstein was, the first thing you need to figure out is this world a friendly place? Because if you think the world is out to get you, then it will manifest that way. But if you think this world just wants to love you and cherish you, then you will find evidence for that also. Principle 2, and I'm going to read this right out of here. Human beings have a spark of divinity within them. This spirit within the very essence of God, or the infinitely reoccurring undulation of light, sound, frequency, vibration flowing through and around all things, encompassing the spaces in between. And that their origin is also inherently good. There's dysfunction, there's misinformation, there's a lot of fear, but our inherent truth is goodness. Principle 3, human beings create their experiences by the activity of their thinking. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. Hang on, time out. You're a player in this game. We play a part with this God thing. We play a part with this reality thing. What we choose to think about, what we choose to believe, affects our reality and our environment, directly within us and around us. So we're players in this game. We're part of this God thing happening right now. Okay. Principle 4. Prayer is creative thinking that heightens a connection with the God mind and therefore brings forth wisdom, healing, prosperity, and everything good. So here we are, we're like little individual bubbles within billions of uncountable bubbles, part of this happening God thing that's happening right now. And we have the choice with our thoughts to formulate ideas, but we're in a constant conversation with this reality. We're in a constant conversation with ourselves. We're in a constant conversation with our community, which means we're transmitting. Whether we're doing it consciously, whether you get up and stub your toe and go through your day with anger, or whether we choose to have grace for ourselves and for one another. But prayer, this creative thinking, we're doing 24/7. So we're having a constant conversation with this unknowable, unnameable God thing all the time. And what we think about and what we choose to pray has power. And principle 5, knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth, are not enough. A person must also live the truth that she or he knows. You know, we all have revelations, but when we start to practice this is when we really get results. We begin to forgive ourselves. We begin to have kindness. We begin to have grace. We begin to play a part in this life. So now back to whole body mystical meditation. This meditative practice was developed with a lot of insight into neuroscience, a lot of with heart math. I'm sure you're all familiar with heart math. And it's the idea of instead of meditating so as to leave the body, you are synchronizing your body to go into meditation. There's a couple different practices with this. One is the idea of the three faces of God. You know, God, the infinitely reoccurring undulation of light, sound, frequency, vibration, flowing through and around all things, encompassing the spaces in between. But it talks about the three faces of God. There is this universal principle of God that lies beneath of even the manifest world, that creates the blueprint for all things, the thing that all things are sourced from. This God principle probably doesn't know your name. This God principle just exists. It's not for any gain or any pleasure or anything like that. It exists because it exists, completely impersonal. The second face of God is the God that loves you, the loving, precious, benevolent presence that lies just beyond the material realm, that can negotiate time and space and create miracles that we can reach out to and we can talk to. The third face of God is the part of the divine that is us. If you were to go to a mirror right now and look in that mirror, through your pupils, the window of your soul, you would be looking at an image of yourself. But what is that looking out from behind your eyes? What is that hearing these words? You know, science can break down the atom, can create nuclear weapons, can do all kinds of cool stuff, but that simple thing is, what is your consciousness? What is that you were before you were born into a body? What is that part of you that goes on when this last exhalation happens? That is the divine within us, the genius, the creative. And with whole body mystical meditation, it goes through a practice steps of coming to our centers. Basically, three centers are our mind, our heart, and our gut. And when I first did this, I had the most amazing experience the first time. We sat and we went through the process of the whole body mystical meditation. And I remember opening my eyes, and I could feel everyone in that Zoom call in the room with me. We created this space together, this magnetic resonance through thought, feeling, and emotion that was tangible and real. And so there's a vagus nerve that comes through our body. This is the neuroscience part. And it comes from our brain, through the back of our heart, and down to our womb. And I'm going to be using the term womb. We're calling it a spiritual womb. And something about that really triggered in me, and I did a little research. We have three brains. We have three places in our body where synapsis occurs. We have our brain in our head. Our heart is our biggest brain. They found out that more information goes from our heart to our head and from our heart to our gut than from our head to our heart. We have a brain in our gut. Each of these brains has memories. Each of these brains can learn. And so in the practice, we go through and we center, through our vagus nerve, we calm down, we center, and we not oscillate, but balance, connect these three centers. And once we do that, we come out of the meditation into our we space, which is our group. And we practice together innocence. Well, hang on, time out. I remember with my daughter, we're coloring one day, and there was a page, and she said, "Dad, draw me a dog." I'm there with a crayon and a paper, and it was so hard for me just to put the crayon to the paper and start to draw a dog. That's how disconnected I was from my creative center. And in this, we'll go through and do the meditation practice and we open it up and we share our experience, because as we go through the centers, we create space to listen, to innocently listen. What are we saying? What are our three brains trying to tell us? We are not just transmitters through prayer and thought, but we're also receivers. We're receiving information from the cosmos all the time. After doing this meditation, I started thinking, this is like a ninja Jedi training session. Well, I'm learning to center myself. I'm learning to align the three brains, and I'm learning to listen to what inspiration's coming through. We were in one of the classes. It was one of the first classes, and not everyone in here knows me. I grew up around here. I started a business when I was 19 because there was nothing else I could do. The timber industry was falling. All the mills were going down, and my family were loggers and millwrights. My dad worked for the mill, which is now a mall. And I started doing floors, stripping, waxing, cleaning, refinishing floors. And I've been doing that now for 33 years. But in this we space meditation, we come out and we take turns giving mystical meditations. Like, for instance, just for an example, let's say we're in a we space and Jane's with us. The group would stop and say, okay, we're going to lovingly give our attention to Jane. And with our three brains aligned, we sit there and we create a space and listen innocently for anything that might, be for Jane. And then we would share, Jane, I got this vision of you walking down a city street with a briefcase. Or I just saw you standing in the sunshine. This lady said to me, she goes, and she lives in Florida. She says, William, I saw you with a floor buffer, buffing a floor. And in our initial one, Jim Pasmore was there. So Jim and I go into this first meditation, we space meditation, and this lady says, this really sweet old lady, she goes, Jim, you need to make peace with your brother. And Jim's like, I haven't spoken to my brother for 6 months. We've been feuding. But the idea to innocently listen, the idea to touch base with who we are as divine aspects of God, and innocently listen and let the divine work through us is a practice. In the We Space Whole Body Mystical Meditation, small groups of people give each other that permission to be like children in a sandbox, innocently discovering their own divine genius, and then to use that for the highest good of all. I mean, it's really a beautiful thing. So let's do one real quick. Let's do a whole body ministry or mystical meditation. As your attorney, I advise you to close your eyes and sit back in your seat, and I'll try not to trip on this carpet. Okay, follow me on a journey in words as we consciously, of our own free moral agency, choose to sit here together to go on a mystical meditation. So breathe a couple times really deeply. And know your truth. And know that you are held in a precious, benevolent love. We're going to bring our attention to our heart. This is where we're going to begin. One way is by placing your hands on your heart. Another can be by tapping, starting with your head. And tap, and just feel that tap. And bring that touch down to your jaw. And then your neck. And then bring that tapping to your heart. Another thing we can do is in this moment right now, think of a beautiful moment. Think of a cherished loved one. Think of something that reminds you of a love, a time when you were accepted and loved and cherished for who you are. It could have been a moment holding a baby. It could have been watching a sunset. But the purpose of this isn't the thing, it's the feeling. Let's resonate that love, that whole, certain, cherished, benevolent love, and feel that frequency vibration building in our hearts. And let this precious love grow. Innocent, whole, certain love grow. And as we feel this love, let's bring our attention down to our feet. We're bringing this beautiful love energy to our feet. We're feeling roots grow from our feet down into the earth, holding us, founding us. We are woven into the very nature of this existence. We have a seat in this reality. We belong here. We're certain. Let's bring this loving attention from our feet, completely founded, completely grounded in knowing truth. Let's bring it up to our spiritual womb, to our gut. And let's create a space here within our spiritual room. This is a place of images, of knowings. This is not a place of intellect, but this is a root chakra with all of the knowledge and experiences of our forefathers handed down 1,000 generations. All of this knowledge and all this knowing lives within us. We know what we know, and that comes from this place. And let's sit in here for just a moment. These are channels and spaces of information transference within us. As we feel this area expand with our connection to the earth, let's bring our attention back up to our hearts and rest of this place. And I just love to say precious love. Sometimes it's my response to 1,000 different situations, just precious love. We are so worthy of this precious love within ourselves and to share it with others. We feel this oscillating, vibrating frequency of love. And from this place, let's go up into our mind space, the place of intellect and thought. Ram Dass said, "The mind makes a wonderful servant, but a terrible master." With this practice, once we've aligned, we come up into our minds and find that it's often a placid, smooth, clear stream. We can plant seeds in or drop pebbles in and watch them ripple off. Let's sit here together consciously in this beautiful space within that's always available for us, that desires to serve us. Let's slowly bring our attention back into the room. You can wiggle your fingers or your toes. You can clip your fingernails. It's an honor to be here with all of you. Right now, we're currently doing our first group with Unity with the We Space meditation. And it's really a powerful thing when we can take the time and rest in each one of these spaces. And each time it's like going on a mission to Mars, and that's your crew. You have a small crew and you're going on a mission to Mars, and you're going within, and then everyone gets to share with each other and grow and learn together. And that's why I'm here at Unity, is to grow and learn and evolve. And make new mistakes. I don't want to have to make the same mistakes over and over again. I am completely open to make new and inventive and ingenious mistakes. But as long as I'm doing time in a body, I want to continue to grow. And this whole body mystical meditation has been a beautiful thing. I'm still learning how to do it as far as directing a group. It was really nice when I was just taking the class and I could go on it. But we're going to be opening up new groups coming up in the near future. And we'll be teaching this whole body mystical meditation and then bringing it into our prayer practice so that life isn't simply just happening to us, that we may become agents of light in this time of perceived fear, that we may become channels of love, and even a moment of grace. Something I remember a few characters in my life, all they had to do was walk into a room and you could feel the whole room go, ah. I've always wanted to be one of those people. And with these practices, we not only we can, it's inevitable we will, because life is calling us forth now. And it's been an honor to talk about this we-space mystical meditation and the Unity's 5 principles so that I can become my own little wood gnome, elf, ninja, Jedi, spiritual person. And we all get to do this together. It's an honor. Thank you.